From Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 5.
Coming up tonight on the news, a proposed bill at the legislature is addressing transparency in Nebraska police departments.
Plus, Lincoln Public Schools will continue to require face masks.
But first, a deadly crash kills a popular Nebraska teacher. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. A police pursuit in York County turned into a deadly night last night. 2
people and a police K-9 were killed. One of the fatalities was the suspect, the other a Hampton school teacher. Kyle Ettinger, a coach and math teacher at Hampton Public Schools, died while sitting at a railroad crossing. Officials say a suspect who stole a K-9 police cruiser crashed into the back of his car, sending both vehicles into the path of the train. Channel 8's Alexis Skineski was in York today and has more on what led up to the deadly crash.
It's quiet here at 19th and Delaware in York, but all morning long it was a very active police scene after an incident took place early this morning. The York County Sheriff's Department now confirming 2 people and a K-9 officer are dead after a car crashed into a vehicle, pushing both into an oncoming train. It all started around 11 p.m. Tuesday. A deputy with the York County Sheriff's Office attempted a traffic stop on a vehicle driving erratically. A pursuit began reaching over 100 miles per hour, where it came to a stop a short time later. The suspect advanced at officers, claiming he had a gun and saying he wanted to die. That's when he gained control of a marked patrol K-9 unit. Another pursuit began at a high rate of speed, where it eventually stopped at 19th and Delaware on some railroad tracks. The suspect exited the vehicle standing on the tracks as a train was approaching. As officers moved in on the suspect, he got back in the stolen car and took off, the train blocking officers from following. The suspect then turned around and headed back towards the train again at a high rate of speed, striking the back of another stopped vehicle waiting for the train and pushed that car into the tracks. A horrific ending here. The suspect, the driver of the sitting vehicle, and the K-9 were all killed instantly, police say. Reporting in York, Alexis Skineski, Channel 8 News.
And again, to reiterate, Hampton public school teacher 31-year-old Kyle Ettinger and a police K-9 named Nitro did die in that crash.
Along with the suspect, 43-year-old Joseph Stallenberg. We have another reporter in the Hampton and York area. We'll have the very latest on this and more tonight at 6 o'clock. In other news now, public outcry for police accountability has grown louder and louder over the past few years.
Citizens have been calling for action when it comes to police misconduct, and now a state senator is looking to enact some change. Channel 8's Macy Meyer has more on a proposed bill in the legislature.
More transparency is what Senator Terrell McKinney is looking for when it comes to holding police officers accountable. It's the reason he's introduced LB 882 to allow the public more insight on police misconduct.
LB 882 is in the public interest because it would require each law enforcement agency to create and maintain a record that would allow the public to learn about officers who have violated either the law or department policy, thereby further promoting police accountability and public trust.
After a few years of communities calling for change within police departments, Senator Terrell McKinney is looking to enact that change. He's introduced a bill that would encourage transparency and accountability in community policing.
The purpose of this bill is to create a culture of transparency. It's not to shame anyone. It's not the public's fault that an officer ends up on this list. That being said, the public should be aware of those on this list, and those facing prosecution should know who is and who is not on this list.
LB 882 would require the disclosure of any disciplinary action that has to do with an officer's ethics, integrity, or honesty. It's called a Brady List, which allows judges, attorneys, and the public to have more informed decisions regarding credibility of these officers. Those who don't support the bill say the misconduct that would put an officer on a Brady List is too broad.
Regardless of the stated intention here, this bill does absolutely nothing to enhance public safety. The clear purpose of LB 883, in our view, is to publicly and punitively jeopardize the reputations and careers of those who serve in law enforcement.
Even some senators had issues with the bill and the Brady List, saying making the list public would not help the community, and expressed concerns that no other state in the country makes their Brady List public.
I don't see that happening in any other arena of public life where something that's happened in your past is public information. I just think that's dangerous territory.
Reporting in Lincoln, Macy Meyer, Channel 8 News.
The biggest issue the bill would face is the scope of what is put on that Brady list and if it should be made public.
We'll keep you updated on how the bill moves forward. You know, this all comes as there are new details in the no-knock raid in Minneapolis where police shot and killed Amir Locke, who wasn't named in the warrant.
Police say they arrested a suspect in connection with a homicide investigation. Court documents reveal authorities were looking for Locke's 17-year-old cousin, who was wanted in connection to a homicide. Police served search warrants for 3 apartments looking for him. That's when Locke was shot and killed. Family members say he was staying with relatives.
And he didn't even have the opportunity to see who decided to play God and take his life.
According to the statement of probable cause, officers executed a warrant at that apartment because Locke's cousin often stayed there. The cousin was arrested over the weekend and was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. The officer who shot Locke remains on paid administrative leave. Well, keep those masks handy in Lincoln for at least 2 more weeks. The health department is extending Lancaster County's current mandate until February 25th.
Yeah, we're also learning Lincoln Public Schools will keep requiring face coverings. However, LPS will no longer continue its COVID response Fridays as cases continue to fall. Only 135 total reported since Sunday in the district.
The DHM, which requires masking indoors, has been extended for 2 weeks. So we've been kind of anxiously awaiting what that next move is going to be, and we will continue to be in alignment with the Lincoln Lancaster Health Department.
This all comes as we continue to see positive signs of COVID in our community. As we first told you last night, cases are down here locally more than 70% in the last 3 weeks. Lancaster County's positivity rate has also dropped from more than 30% a week ago to nearly 16% right now. But some are not happy that the mask mandate remains in place, especially when it comes to children.
I cannot believe our board, administrators, and teachers are seemingly okay with continuing the child abuse. The future will show how absolutely despicably you have treated our youth, our future. So if this isn't about protecting our kids, what are we protecting? It's simple. It's about liability. You're more concerned about making sure that you're never found responsible. Let the parents choose.
Also happening today, Douglas County is expected to extend its mask mandate as officials remain cautiously optimistic. We're almost out of the woods with the Omicron surge. And speaking of the Douglas County area in Omaha, a father is fed up over the treatment of his son at school.
He says his son, who suffers from the condition known as alopecia and can't grow hair, said a cafeteria worker cursed at his son, withheld lunch, and mocked his condition.
I hope you never have to experience sending your child to school not knowing if they will come back the same person. I hope you don't have to sit in the car after school watching the clock, wondering if the bully made good on their threats. Hope that when you see the school's phone number show up, that your heart doesn't sink and the thought that today's the day that someone really hurt your child goes through your mind.
Crawford said his son has faced bullying from both students and teachers. It's progressed from teasing to pushing to threats and even following Cohen home and dumping out his backpack. He asked the board to implement a new policy on how to handle bullying in schools, including an online form and tracking system that can be shared between schools and more transparency for parents.
Time now for your first forecast. The mild temperatures roll on, but man, the wind today, John, really picking up at times.
Yeah, a little gusty this afternoon, upwards of right around 30 miles per hour. Temperatures today a little cooler. In fact, it's the coolest it's been in 3 days, only hitting 51 degrees this afternoon, but at least we did hit the 50-degree mark. And when you compare that to last year, it feels very nice because last year we had a high of 8, a low of 18 below, and we had 12 inches of snow on the ground. So we take a live look in Lincoln right now. You can see there is no snow on the ground for sure. We are starting to see clouds increasing from the northwest. And you can see temperatures compared to yesterday down about 5 to 10 degrees. So right now we're sitting at 50 in Lincoln, a little cooler towards Columbus where it's 46 degrees. It's 52 right now in Hebron. Now winds, sustained winds 10 to 20 miles per hour continue. Those gusts will begin to decrease later on within the next hour to 2. Now look back to the west. You can see there are more clouds. We're even starting to see some precipitation precipitation showing up on radar. Most of us will not see any precipitation at all, maybe a few snow showers out there as well. We're talking generally west of line from Valentine to Broken Bow, maybe Kearney seeing a few drops of rain or even a snowflake later tonight. But for most of us, again, we're going to stay dry around here. For the rest of this evening, 45 degrees by 6 o'clock, 39 by 8 as clouds start to increase, and 35 degrees by 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we see temperatures starting to go back up, but we are talking about maybe a little rain for some of you, as well as a chance for some colder air coming our way for the start of the weekend. The details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much, John. In international news now, Russia is set to launch military drills in Belarus as it continues to build up its military presence near the Ukrainian border.
Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin vows he has no plans to invade Ukraine, but the Kremlin is also dismissing progress on a diplomatic deal. ABC's Elizabeth Schultze has the latest from Washington.
Tensions remain high in Ukraine as Russia flexes its military might. Moscow releasing new video showing forces readying military drills and more missile systems arriving in Belarus. Amid a buildup of more than 100,000 Russian troops near Ukraine's borders, Ukrainian forces are responding with their own military drills. Some Ukrainians taking to the streets outside the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv, demanding a peaceful solution to avert a Russian invasion. The Kremlin denies it's planning an attack, but Russia is playing down hopes for a diplomatic deal, first touted by French President Emmanuel Macron after his recent 5-hour meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Mr. Putin can easily take this crisis and avert it from any further consequences by simply removing some of those forces and being serious about sitting down and trying to find a diplomatic path forward.
The White House says President Biden spoke with Macron today, ahead of another round of crucial talks Thursday between Ukraine and Russia in Berlin. A White House Deputy National Security Advisor telling MSNBC Putin can maintain his military troop buildup along Ukraine's border as diplomatic efforts go on, but not indefinitely.
We think they could maintain this posture for a period. Now, over the much longer term, this gets costly for Russia.
The White House announced Vice President Kamala Harris will attend the Munich Security Conference later this month instead of President Biden. It could prove to be a key diplomatic test for Harris amid the tensions between Ukraine and Russia. Elizabeth Schultze, ABC News, Washington.
And coming up next, a third day of a standstill traffic at the Canadian-U.S. border as truckers protest vaccine mandates and COVID restrictions.
What this means for Americans after the break.
Charles W. Herbster,
Now to the scene playing out on the U.S.-Canada border. Hundreds of truck drivers and other groups protesting over vaccine mandates and COVID restrictions, sparking a state of emergency in Canada's capital city.
The busiest border crossing in North America now caught in the middle. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the latest.
For a third straight day, traffic brought to a standstill at the Ambassador Bridge at the U.S.-Canadian border. Lawmakers and local officials desperately searching for ways to peacefully end the so-called Freedom Convoy.
Every hour this protest continues, our community hurts. Thousands of workers feed their families because of the commerce made possible at the Ambassador Bridge.
For nearly 2 weeks, Canadian truckers have been protesting vaccine mandates and other COVID restrictions. David Mitchell, a longtime truck driver, was unvaccinated and recently died from COVID. His mother now pleading for the protest to end.
He would tell every trucker he could reach to get vaccinated. They live in a wonderful country. Let's get on with it.
In Ottawa, truckers unleashing deafening honks, a judge ordering an injunction, police threatening arrest, hoping to silence the noise. On the border in Detroit, these truckers caught in the middle, not part of the protest, but still stuck idling along the U.S.-Canadian line for more than 12 hours.
Like everybody you see here, they're waiting and they're tired. They want to go home. They want to see their families.
That border crossing carries more than a quarter of the $600 billion in trade between the U.S. and Canada. Canadian officials worried about the supply chain. The White House saying the U.S. is looking at ways to get things moving.
We're very focused on this. The president is focused on this, and we are working very closely with the team at DHS, with Canadian officials and others to do everything we can to alleviate the impact.
And as for those demonstrations in Ottawa, protesters are dug in, many of them bringing in grills, setting up clothing lines, also fuel. And today, police seen seizing some of those gas cans, hoping to bring an end to all of this. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Now, your Storm Alert Team forecast with Chief Meteorologist John Dessauer.
You can see we've got, as we take a live look outside from Honda of Lincoln, we've got some clouds beginning to move into the area. It's been a nice day, though, even with the clouds starting to arrive. We will see more clouds as we go through the overnight hours, especially just off to the west. I think around the Lincoln area we'll likely see mostly clear skies tonight after we get this batch of clouds through the area. But we are going to start to see some changes coming our way over the next 36 to 48 hours. Temperatures are just a bit cooler than what they were yesterday at this time, running about 5 to as much as 10 degrees cooler. Temperatures right now running from the mid-40s to right around 50 degrees in Lincoln. That's after a day of reaching 52 this afternoon, now down to 48 degrees in York as well as in Friend. Wind speeds, well, they're still up there. This is looking at sustained speeds. We're running still 10 to nearly 20 miles per hour with some occasional gusts still to 30 miles per hour. But those will begin to back down here over the next couple of hours, especially once the sun sets here in about another 35 minutes or so. You can see the clouds are in place, more clouds back out to the west, and there's even a little bit of precipitation back there. We'll dial into some of the local radars and show you it is just some very light rain that may be falling in some spots. The air is still relatively dry. Not seeing a lot of reports of this reaching the ground, but there will be a chance for a little bit of precipitation. I'm going to say generally west of the line from Valentine to Broken Bow and Kearney will be the best chance for seeing anything over the next several hours. Not expecting any accumulating snows out that direction. For the rest of this evening, we'll keep mostly clear skies, down to 39 degrees by 10 o'clock. It will be a little colder tonight. This morning, miraculously, Lincoln only dropped down to 40 degrees. Much of the remaining of the area saw temperatures down in the low 30s. Tomorrow morning, we will drop down into the low to mid 20s, so down to 25 in Lincoln, 23 in York, a low of 24 degrees in Grand Island. As we go through the day tomorrow, we'll see skies turning partly cloudy. We'll see our temperatures starting to rebound by noon, back into the mid 40s. But notice what happens towards afternoon. We start to warm things back up. We will get back up into the mid 50s. Clouds will be on the increase as we head towards the afternoon, turning skies partly sunny. But temperatures will still be mild because notice our winds shift around out of the southwest. Now, it'll be breezy tomorrow, sustained 6 to 20 with some gusts at times to 30 miles per hour. But I do think we'll make it back up in the mid 50s to upper 50s, perhaps as warm as 58 degrees in Hebron and 50 57 degrees in Grand Island. A couple of cold fronts are going to start coming our way over the coming days, and that's going to bring some cooler air. You'll notice the winds gusting tomorrow at times by noon, upwards of 20 miles per hour. As we head towards the afternoon, our winds start to shift around to the west, and that's when they'll start to pick up just a bit. But here's one of the cold fronts that's now beginning to move into the area. It's the second cold front that's up into northern portions of Canada that will start coming our way, and that'll bring down a chunk of some colder air for Friday. Now, before that cold front passes through during the afternoon, our temperatures will likely make it up to right into the upper 40s to near 50 degrees, but that cooler air will be around here through Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. So that's going to be our day that starts to feel like winter once again. Highs will only be in the low 30s. Some of you may struggle to get out of the 20s during the day on Saturday, but it's short-lived because warmer air starts to come back into the area. By Sunday afternoon, I think many of us will be back up into low to mid 50s, and it'll stay mild for a few more days, and then we may see some changes coming our way towards the end of next week. 7-day forecast, again, 48 Friday. We'll start to see our temperatures cooling as we get towards late Friday afternoon, early evening. 33 for high on Saturday, 52 on Sunday. Valentine's Day looks to be dry. Now, there are some questions about Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week, so I'm just going to put that out there right now. Some of the computer models are all of a sudden showing we could have rain or even some snow in the area. However, for about a week now, they've been suggesting we're going to stay dry, so I'm going to stay the course right now with that, but we'll continue to monitor that. If I see some more consistency over the coming days, we may add some rain into the forecast for middle of next week. But in the meantime, enjoy the warm-up.
Yeah, dry and mild temperatures for as far as the eye can see.
Yep.
But as you said, we really do need some precip right now.
We definitely, yeah, we've only had 1/100th in Lincoln since January 16th.
All right, thank you very much, John. Yeah. A great day on Wall Street today. The Dow gaining 305 points. NASDAQ also up 296. Here are your numbers. You're watching Channel 8, Nebraska's trusted news source.
Tonight, after the powerful testimonies,
get to the bottom
Here's one way to say I love you this Valentine's Day, and believe me, she will never forget it. Sotheby's is auctioning off a black diamond.
Yeah, you probably have never seen one before because they're incredibly rare. They contain osmurnite, which is found in meteorites, and it's believed these gems actually come from outer space. How about that? This one is called the Enigma. Sotheby's thinks it will sell for, well, only $6.8 million. So
Pocket change.
yes.
Rod, are you going to give me that for Valentine's Day?
Well, I'll tell you what, today, Jessica, my youngest daughter, it's her birthday. So happy birthday,
gotta give it for her.
Jessica. You never know. Maybe Daddy will get you that for your birthday.
Okay, well, the question,
she knows better.
The question for Megan, though, you see how big it is. How do you wear that?
A very strong chain.
Because that's not going on your finger, is it?
No, I'm thinking necklace.
Yeah, necklace.
That could be like a hat.
I'm just going to mount it in a hat right here.
Yeah. Or it could be like a bow. Get it for Aurora.
Oh, yeah.
The temperatures this evening will be dropping down. It's going to be cool tonight. We'll see eventually lows into the 20s.
All right. Thank you, John, and thank you all for joining us.
Have a great night. World News is next. We'll see you back here at 6.
With the Channel 8 Eyewitness News mobile app, you'll be the first to know. Get alerts about breaking news and weather, all in the palm of your hand. Closed captioning on Channel 8 Eyewitness News is brought to you by Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Why not? No! When being a parent isn't quite how you pictured it, the Nebraska Family Helpline is here for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call the Nebraska Family Helpline at 888-866-8660. Any problem, anytime.
Do you need relief from substance use? Do you live in fear of what the future holds for you? You're not alone. There's help. There's Pine Lake Behavioral Health. Pine Lake Behavioral Health specializes in treating substance use and addiction problems with programs built to use and promote lasting change. Now is the chance to make it happen. Do it for your loved one. Do it for your